যে আনিল প্রেমাদান পরম কাছো Chakshunamiritam jena tasmai novistam stapitam jena bhutale swayam rupa kadamayam dadati sa patantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Jatapatakamanam Sri Gurum Vaishnavam Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Ragunatam Nitam Chatam Sukhim Sadvaitam Savadutam Varijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanitam Sha. So we will speak on the Bhagavad Gita as it is, 11th chapter. Universal form, Virat Rupa. The subject of Bhagavad Gita is to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although it should be very obvious to everyone that God exists, it seems that to many it is not so obvious. In fact, if we were to ask the question of most people in the world today, what is God? Or who is God? Many of them would be very puzzled and would be unable to answer this question. When people are asked generally about God, they say, God is great. But great is too much of a general term. How great is God, they cannot say. For most people, they can appreciate that the greatest thing of all is this universe. The stars in the heavens, the sun in the day, the moon at night, the earth, outer space, the planetary systems. These are the different ways in which people can feel the almightiness of God. And it is for such persons who cannot understand the personal feature of God that God displays His universal form. Actually, the universal form is not the most important form of God. Although, when you speak to scholars of the Gita, and you ask them, or just in general, say, scholars of religion, or history, and they say, yes, you ask them, have you read Gita? They say, yes, the 11th chapter, it is wonderful. That's what it is. Because the universal form, which is displayed in the 11th chapter, and the beautiful descriptions, as you will see, they are very popular amongst those who are materialists. As far as devotees are concerned, the universal form is not as interesting as the other forms of God. In fact, it is said that the universal form, or the Virat group, is not sanatan, or eternal. It is a form which was temporarily manifest in order for Arjuna to see it and a few others to see it. It is not eternal. And it is especially a form which is recommended for those who are in the beginning stages only of spiritual life. For those who are more advanced, they are directed towards the personal form of the Lord, either as Narayan, Vishnu, or Krishna, or any of the avatars of Krishna. Just like we see on the altar, we don't see Virat Rup. We see Jasoda Nanda, Krishna in the arms of Jasoda Devi. Sita Ram, Lakshmana and Hanuman. Radha Nila Madhav. These are the forms which attract us as bhaktas. But for those who do not have any bhakti, they are told, you worship the Virat Guru. So, in any case, there's a reason for this Virat Guru. Because if anyone claims that they are God, then they must be able to show this Virat Guru. If someone is called Bhagavan, then he should be able to show his Virat Guru. If he cannot, then he cannot be accepted as Bhagavan. Of course, nowadays the modern Bhagavans are very tricky fellows. So they may say, I am Bhagavan, but you cannot see my Virat Guru. For those persons, we have an answer. Because Krishna tells Arjuna that I will give you the eyes to see. So you can answer to them, if you are Bhagavan, you give me the eyes. I'm your devotee. I'm ready to be your devotee. Just give me the eyes to see and convince me, just as Krishna convinced Arjuna. This is our answer to it. Actually, our Guru Maharaj, the founder of ISKCON, Prabhupada, said that they are not Bhagavan, they are not God, but they are God spelled in the opposite way. G-O-D is God, and backwards it spells D-O-G. So he said, actually they're dogs. Because anyone who dares to say that they are God, anyone who falsely claims that he is that God, is like a dog. That is the worst thing. You see? Just like imagine if some imposter, supposing someone living here in Katy, right here in Katy, supposing someone in Katy, one of your next door neighbors said, do you know what? The man living next door to us is President Bush. It's President Bush. And the First Lady is living with him. And they're right in Katy. Now you know your neighbor, you know he's not Bush. But this man is claiming to be Bush. Now, after a while, supposing that he starts to, take all kinds of liberties, which the president may have, after a while, people are not going to appreciate him. And if he continues in this way, they're going to put him away in the funny house. They will commit him. That's if someone says that they are the president of the U.S. Now, the president of the U.S. is not a very big position. The U.S. is only one country out of many. And this is only one planet out of many. And this universe is only one universe out of many. Now, if someone says they're God, Bhagavan, that's a much bigger thing than saying I'm president of the U.S. So, and yet we see that although it is such a rascal thing to do, so many thousands of people say, yes, you're Bhagavan. I will bow down before you, I'll give you my wealth. And they do that. So, this is called the blind leading the blind. And what happens? They all fall down in the ditch. There's a picture, there's a famous picture actually, a European engraving, I think by Hans Holbein or some famous European artist. And it's a picture of a blind man walking with a cane. And everyone else has their hand on his shoulder, like a long line of men, all blind men. And they're all following him. And he's about to walk into the ditch. The blind leading the blind. So any of these false Bhagavans and their followers, they're like the blind leading the blind. Our Guru Maharaj used to say, if you follow a third-class man, then you are, what? At least fourth class or fifth class. So this was the situation today. And why is this going on? Because people do not read their own scriptures. People do not know what is in the scripture. People are not understanding very much. They don't take the time. Your kids are studying history books, chemistry books, mathematics books, spelling books. You are reading the newspaper, reading this, and this. But how many people read the Gita every day? Very few. So no wonder you can be cheated so easily. Just like if a child is, why do you want your children educated? What is the reason? Huh? You weren't supposed to give that answer. Of course, that isn't true. For a better life. So how do you get the better life? By making money. Bottom line, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. These are the four human necessities. And the most essential is Kam. Kam means sense desire, sense enjoyment. And how do you get it? By Artha, economic development. And how do you get economic development? In the old days, people thought by going to the temple. Unless the God blesses me, I will get no money. But now people have discovered you don't have to go to the temple to get money. So therefore they don't bother going anymore. They say, well, we just found out, actually we're wasting our time. We could be making money at that time. It's a waste of time. So people have become atheists. And as far as moksha goes, no one even bothers to think about that. So it's all economic development and sense gratification. But actually, what is the real purpose of education? The real purpose of education, what is real education? It means to know the nature of the truth, to know the truth. Real education means to solve the problems of life. You said, when I asked you, what is the purpose of education? You said what did you say? A better life. So I will answer, how do you have a better life? By solving the problems of life. Agreed? Now, what are the problems of life? Nobody survives. You find anyone surviving? And how long do they survive? What is the one thing that is sure in life? Death. So then your point, it fails. You said that the problems of life is to survive, but no one survives. What is the real promise of life? The real problem is given that birth, old age, disease, and death. You gave the answer for it. To survive means to overcome birth, old age, disease, and death. Why birth? Because when there's death, there must be birth again. Right? The soul does not die. It takes its birth in the next lifetime. So old age, disease, and death, and next birth. These are the problems. And if you can solve these problems, that is called the truth. That knowledge by which you can solve these problems is the absolute truth. And who should become a father and mother? One who can help the children to get free from these problems of life. That person can become a father and mother. But nowadays, people are becoming fathers and mothers simply on the basis of feeding the child, giving clothing to the child, giving a place. Where do we get this knowledge from? We're going to get this knowledge from Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So we have to understand, therefore, that to solve life's problems means to come up with a solution to birth, old age, disease, and death. That is called the absolute truth. Now, in this chapter of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 11, Krishna will show to anyone who wants to see that he is Bhagavan. And let us start by reading. Text 1. Arjuna said, "By my hearing the instruction you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion has now been dispelled." This is why you go to see a guru. Arjuna is the Shishya, the disciple of Krishna. Krishna is the Adi Guru. Why do you go to a guru? To dispel illusion. Not to say to your guru, "Guruji, please bless me that I can become rich next year." That's actually why most people worship all of these Bhagavans. They say, yes, so-and-so person, has been worshiping this such and such guru, and since he started worshiping, his business tripled. This is proof that his guru is not only very powerful, in fact, his guru is God, because his business tripled. No. Here, Arjuna says, everything that you have explained to me has dispelled my illusion. What does illusion mean? Illusion means that we are our body. That is the first illusion that must be dispelled. You are not your body. You are not Indian. You are not American. You are not man. You are not woman. You are not young. You are not old, black, white, Christian, Hindu. This is all the description of the body. Then who are you? Aham Brahmasmi. I am pure spirit soul. This is knowledge. And this type of knowledge dispels all kinds of illusion. So now we are going to get more. Krishna actually taught Arjuna much more. In the 10th chapter, we found that Krishna gave knowledge about bhakti, devotional service, by which one can understand the truth. Bhakti mama vijanati yavanyas chasmi tatpataha. I can only be understood by pure devotional service, not by any other means. So bhakti is not a sentimental process, but it is the actual way to uncover the truth. Because bhakti means realization, tasting this knowledge, not dry. If I tell you, what is the truth about, let's say, honey? I give you a bottle of honey and I say, tell me what is its nature. By looking at the bottle of honey, can you understand the nature of honey? You can say it's a liquid, but there are so many liquids. You can say it's golden in color. There are so many things that could be golden in liquid. But what is the way you're going to be able to understand the honey? By tasting. In the same way, simply gyan, simply study and knowledge cannot give you the real understanding of the truth. If you want to taste the truth, that requires bhakti. Otherwise, you cannot get the truth. And how do you get bhakti? What is the way? Bhakti is actually the Shakti of Krishna. Bhakti is a Shakti, it is an energy of Krishna. It is a gift of God. And how is that gift coming? It comes through the Shakti of God. Just like we see standing next to Krishna is who? Yes, Radharani, and she gives bhakti. Because she is the highest of all bhaktas. She is the best of all devotees of Krishna. She gives bhakti. And therefore, as devotees of Krishna, we are always praying, Jai Radhe, Jai Radhe. We're always praying for Srimati Radharani's mercy and blessings. Because it is she who actually awards bhakti. And what is the way to pray to Radharani? How do we pray to Krishna? This Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This Hare is Radharani. That is Radharani. Hare means the energy of the Lord. That means Radha. So, we are praying like this. This is the way to get bhakti, and bhakti is the way to uncover the truth. Next sloka. O lotus-eyed one. Krishna's eyes are like lotuses. Kamala. Lotus. Kamala Patraksha. O lotus-eyed one. I have heard from you in detail about the appearance and disappearance of every living entity, and have realized your inexhaustible glories. O greatest of all personalities. You see what Krishna is called? O greatest of all personalities. Purusha Uttama. Purusha Uttama. The best of all persons. O greatest of all personalities. O supreme form. God has a form. Is Krishna's form the actual form of God, or is there something higher? How many people think there's something higher? Raise your hands. What's higher than Krishna's form? Krishna. Anybody think there's anything higher than Krishna? No. And Krishna and Krishna's form, is it different or the same thing? And you and your form, are you the same thing or different? Different, right? So Krishna and his form is not different. So the Krishna that we see in these pictures is a picture of the highest person's forms, the form of God, isn't it? This is not some form made of material energy. It is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. It is a form full of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Not something temporary. O supreme form, though I see you before me in your actual position, I am seeing you. Arjuna is seeing Krishna directly. He says, I see in your actual position, as you have described yourself. Now I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours. I want to see the form by which you make this whole universe manifest. Show me that form. Why is Arjuna interested to see this form? Does he have any personal motive? What is his reason? Can you guess? For the benefit of those who later on may come as impostors. He knows, Arjuna knows, that in the future so many Bhagavans will be born in India. Every year. So just in order to be able to expose them as cheaters, he's telling Krishna, because you are actually Bhagavan, you show this universal form. so that in the future all of them will be exposed. That's the reason. Otherwise, Arjuna has he's standing in front of Krishna personally. So he has no reason to see the universal form for his own motive. It is on the behalf of others that he is asking. If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self. He is the master of all mystic power. What does this mean? Mystic power means astasiti, 8 mystic perfections. Anima, Lagima, Prapti, all of these types of cities. Just like Prapti city means that from a distant place you can bring something without going there. Some modern day yogis who call themselves Bhagavan may have this power. Right? They can bring and show you a gold ring. And that same gold ring was in a gift shop in Madras. And they can produce it. Now you may say, this proves he's God. No. Because Krishna is called the best of mystics, Yogeshvara. He doesn't just bring a little gold ring, he can bring you a gold mountain. So the Bhagavans who call themselves Bhagavans who produce a little piece of gold, you should immediately say, I'm not satisfied, I can go and buy a gold ring. If you can give me a golden mountain, then I will think you're Bhagavan. Golden ring, I can go and purchase in the jewelry shop. This trick is only worth $100 or $200. If you have real mystic opulence, show something that's worth trillions and zillions of dollars. Don't show me a $1,000 gold ring and tell me that I have to accept you as Bhagavan. And Krishna is the master of mystics, it says. Kindly show me that unlimited universal self. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Pasya me partha rupani satasho ta sahasrasaha nanavidani divyani nana varnakritini cha. The Supreme Lord said, My dear Arjuna, O son of Pritha, see now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of varied divine and multicolored forms. O best of Bharatas, see here the different manifestations of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Asvini Kumars, and all the other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard before. O Arjuna, whatever you wish to see, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to see, and whatever you may want to see in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here, completely in one place. But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you divine eyes. This is the point we mentioned before. Krishna says, you can't see me with your normal eyes, I give you divine eyes. I'm reading chapter 11, text 8. I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence. Sanjay said, this is Sanjay speaking here. Right? Who is Sanjay the secretary to? Dhritarashtra. Right? You can imagine, Dhritarashtra is there hoping that his 100 sons are going to win this battle. And here is Arjuna, and Arjuna's chariot driver, Krishna. And gradually, Dhritarashtra is listening, and what is he realizing? Oh my God, this is big trouble. My sons aren't finished. It's hopeless. He knows it's hopeless. When Krishna reveals, and you'll see what Krishna reveals in this universal form, that he sees all his sons get killed at this moment. And why? Simply because of his ambition. Because of his over-attachment to his own sons. And therefore they all had to die. Sanjay said, O king, that means O Dhritarashtra, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and wore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. You can imagine how brilliant, how effulgent, how full of light was this form that is described as if hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at the same moment. One sun rising in the morning is enough to illuminate the entire sky, the entire universe. And here, this universal form's effulgence is so brilliant, like hundreds of thousands of suns. Just see the power of God. At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansions of the universe, situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands. Although Arjuna was in one spot, and he was looking in one place, he could see everything that was going on in the universe. This was the mystic vision. When he said, I give you divine eyes, it means I give you the ability to see everything, although staying in one place. Without the help of God, no one can see this form. Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end. You can imagine, all your hairs just stand up. That means complete astonishment. Sometimes you see in a cartoon, it goes like that, right? You know, all the hairs. That was Arjuna, just standing there, so everything was just astonishing. Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances, and with folded hands he began to pray to the Supreme Lord. And he said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods. It's very significant. Within the form of Krishna, all the demigods are contained. That means that God is the supreme master of all the demigods. The demigods are his subservient servants. They are not equal to him because they're only part of his body. I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower, as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine serpents. This is the position of Krishna. This is Krishna, who is the master of all others. Deva Deva Jagat Guru. He's the God of gods, the Lord of the universe. O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many bellies, mouths, arms, eyes, expanded everywhere, without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning. Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, spreading on all sides, like blazing fire of the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. Krishna is told by Arjuna, you are the ultimate goal of all. And before we heard, all different paths lead to me, Krishna says. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the oldest means everything comes from him. No one can, and yet, what is another name for Krishna? Navayogana. Ever youthful. Have you ever seen a picture of Krishna with old, wrinkled skin? Have you ever seen a picture of Krishna with gray hair? But Krishna, when he was on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, as Arjuna's chariot driver, he had great-grandsons. And yet, he had no gray hairs. He had no old body. He looked 16 years old. Yovana means he was 16 years old. And he was wearing a beautiful fresh garland, Vajayanti garland. This is God. And yet, He's the oldest of all. He's the source of everything, cause of all causes. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. You are without origin, middle or end. Sometimes when we say, what is the definition of God? The origin of everything. And then some smart aleck people say, well, where did God come from? That is the whole definition of God. He is the cause of all causes, but He has no cause Himself. You are the origin, the middle or the end. Your glory, you are without origin, middle or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms, and the sun and the moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance. Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed. All the hosts of demigods are surrendering before you and entering into you. Some of them, very much afraid, are offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfect beings crying, all peace, are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns. It says here that the demigods and all the planetary systems fear the terrible manifestation of the universal form and its glaring effulgence, and so pray for protection. So not only Arjuna was given the vision at this time, but many of the great sages and demigods could also see. Otherwise, it would not say here that they were fearful. All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Satyas, the Vishvadevas, the two Asvis, the Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder. They're all seeing now. It is not only Arjuna who got this vision, but by the grace of Krishna and Arjuna, so many great persons could see this Virat group. Almighty Armed One, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form, with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. You can see why the scholars like this. They think, this is God. Not that cowherd boy. This is God. Oh. Because their idea of God is what? Something very great. Very awesome. Just like when the British were in India and they went to Puri and they saw the Rath Yatra festival. You see? And there was 5 million people in Puri pulling Lord Jagannath, right? And everybody is chanting, Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. And there's this huge 5 million people and this gigantic deity with huge eyes. You've seen a picture of Jagannath? Right? And when the British asked, who is that? They said, there's a Jagannath. So they got this word Jagannath. Now in English there's a word Juggernaut. You look it up in the English dictionary. Do you have a dictionary? Yeah, give me that dictionary. Let's see if they have the word Juggernaut. Some words have come in English. Pundit. Now the word pundit is Pundit. P-U. In India we say Pandit. P-A-N-D-I-T. In English it's spelled P-U-N-D-I-T. Now let's see if we got Juggernaut. See, I'm showing Madhavananda how to use these books. We went to Kuber's house. I said, Madhavananda, what are these Britannica books? He said, this is the whole material world. So I said, you think so? Bring me the book. And then I showed him 4 places in this book all about Hare Krishna. There's so many sections of the Britannica Encyclopedia all about Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON. It's described here very thoroughly. So you think this is another material thing, but let us see Juggernaut is in here. Jug, jag, jagged, juggery, unrefined sugar made from palm sap. Sanskrit. Comes from the Sanskrit, right? Jagannatha. It's here in this picture. There may be Jagannath after all. J-U. Oh, yeah, J-U. Like Pandit, right? Pandit, Jagannath, J-U. Okay, let's go. Here it is. Juggernaut. J-U-G-G-E-R-N-A-U-T. So remember I said, when they saw this thing coming, they said, who is that? They said, Juggernaut, Juggernaut. They said, Juggernaut, something very great and fearful. Now, Juggernaut, a title of the Hindu deity Krishna, whose idol is drawn in an annual procession on a huge car or wagon, under the wheels of which worshippers are said to have thrown themselves to be crushed. Actually, this is a very good definition. No, here it is. Now, that is the word Juggernaut with a capital J. But the small word Juggernaut with a small j means, this is the word they got, anything that draws blind and destructive devotion, or to which people are ruthlessly sacrificed, such as a belief or institution. Terrible, isn't it? It says it comes from Juggernaut. You can see what it is. Yeah, terrible. So, but people's idea about God must be very great. I always tell that example of how many years ago in Los Angeles I was lecturing in a Baptist church. So I could only lecture after the Baptist minister. He gave the first sermon. And he was saying to the people that God is so great. He's so big. He said that the reason why no one can see God is because he's so big that you can't get far enough away from him to see him. Just like if there's a very big building, right? It's so big that unless you go 10 miles away, you can't see it. You know there's some big buildings in Houston. You see them from the freeway, you can look at them. But if you're right next to them, you can't see that building, how it looks. They say the reason no one has ever seen God is that he's so big, you can't get far enough away to see him. So of course, this is a false conception of what God is. First of all, there's no possibility of having any kind of loving relationship with something that is so gigantic and big. It is described in the Rasa Shastra that love must be between two of the same kind. Right? When we talk about relationship of love, actually, this idea that I love my dog is not possible. It is in spiritual sense, you can love the soul. But actually, love can only exist between two equals. Two persons who have two persons, or two animals, or two somethings of the same type. So if God is so gigantic, then how can we have any kind of conception of love there? No. Therefore, it is described in the Brahma Samhita that Krishna has a human-like form, a medium size. That medium size means that size with which we can embrace and love him. That's the idea. So, the point here is that the wrong conception is that the only way to understand God is with fear. Fear because of his power. Just like if you read the Bible, you'll see that the Jews, they worshiped God out of fear. Because they were sinning so many times. God would say, do like this, and they wouldn't do it. And then God would send down all kinds of punishments. So the whole concept is full of fear and awe and reverence. Now, when Jesus came as the Son of God, he showed a different nature. And that's why he demonstrated more of the compassionate feature of God. Forgiveness, compassion. So they have more of that mood. But still, that's what they feel for Jesus, the Son of God. But for God, they have no idea who God is. You ask a Christian, who is God the Father? Who's the Father of Jesus? They don't have any idea. They say, maybe they'll say Jehovah. But who is Jehovah? They don't know. What does he look like? I don't know. Where does he live? I don't know. What does he do? I don't know. Who is he with? I don't know. Do you love God? Yes. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know where he is. I don't know who he's with. I don't know what he's doing. Do you love him? Yes. What is the meaning of that love? It has no meaning. Actually, it has no meaning. That means blind faith. That is not love. They have much more knowledge about their dog in the backyard than they do about God. And actually, they have more feeling, practically, most people, for their dog than they do for God. You can see, they give the dog a funeral even. Give them nice treatment in so many ways. People have their dogs living in their own homes with them, sleeping in their own beds with them. Huh? $20. So they don't, and when we take care of our deity in the temple, they say idol worship. They're sleeping with their dog, paying $20 to get the dog's nails manicured, and we are doing deity worship, idol worship. And what is that? This is the situation in the present day world. So, we are trying to teach to understand everything about God. We have information. Anyone who reads Bhagavad Gita, anyone who reads Srimad Bhagavatam will get detailed information about God. His name, his address, everything. His family members. You can find out everything about the Supreme Lord if you just read Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. No doubt about it. And naturally, if you read the descriptions about God, what will happen? You will develop love for him. Why? Because he's wonderful. Krishna is wonderful in all respects. What does the word Krishna mean? He who is all attractive. So just by hearing about him, we are drawn to him. Like an iron is drawn to a magnet. Any devotee will be drawn to Krishna just by hearing about him. It is a very natural attraction. So Arjuna is saying, O all-pervading Vishnu, seeing you with your many radiant colors, touching the sky, your gaping mouths and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance, seeing you thus, your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions I am bewildered. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also, are rushing into your fearful mouths, and some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth. So here is the future of what will happen in the battlefield. At the very beginning, this conversation is taking place when? Just before the battle begins. And already it is seen that they're all going to die. Who are the only ones who will live? The Pandavas, Satyaki, that's all. And Duryodhana will live a little longer, will be killed. As the many waves of the rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter blazing into your mouths. And also Bhishma lives a little longer. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths, as moths dash to destruction in a blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouth, covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible, scorching rays. O Lord of Lords, so fierce a form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of all worlds. Krishna says, time I am. Kalosmi. Time I am. What could be more powerful than time? Time takes everything. Can you purchase, with all the money in the world, 1 minute? Can you purchase a minute? Can you say, I'll pay $1 million, give me 1 minute back? Is it possible? Can you buy 1 minute back? No. So the most powerful thing, which can never be checked, time. I am time, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people, with the exception of you, the Pandavas. All the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Therefore, get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be put but an instrument in the fight. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight, and you will vanquish your enemies in battle. We are not the doers. God is the doer. But He wants us, His devotees, to take the credit. Krishna says, as time, they are already killed. Why? Because every one of them performs sinful activity. When they touched the hair of Draupadi, when they tried to disrobe Draupadi in the public, and all of those elders sat by and did nothing, they were all dead from that moment. Their time was marked. That means karma automatically was destined that they must die. And that time is Krishna. The awarder of karma is Krishna. So then what is Arjuna? He's an instrument in Krishna's hands. What are we? We're meant to be instruments in the hands of God. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted, in every town, in every village of this world, my names will be chanted. The Hare Krishna mantra will be chanted. Prabhupada said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has already predicted it. It must happen. Now the only question is, who is going to get the credit? But it will happen without a doubt. This Krishna Consciousness movement will spread like wildfire all over the world. The question now, who is going to get the credit? That's all. So if you act on behalf of the Lord, you'll get credit. And He wants to give credit. Just like a father wants to see his son glorified. The father is more concerned to see the son successful than he himself be successful. Similarly, Krishna could take all the credit, but He doesn't need the credit. He's God. He wants to see His devotee glorified. So, Prabhupada said, become great by serving the greatest. Krishna is the greatest, and you'll be great if you serve Him. Prabhupada said, don't come here simply to beg technology from the West. He said, I did not come from India simply to become as a beggar. Give me money, give me technology, give me some better living. I came to give something. I came to give them what they had given up, what they don't have, and that is Krishna. That is the Vedic culture. So all of you have come from India, don't come as beggars. Even if you came here with the idea of technology, you should understand that you could come here and give something. And what is that thing you can give? Your Vedic culture, your Indian culture. Because the West has no culture. Haven't you seen that? There's zero culture here. They don't know anything about culture. So who can give it better than you yourselves? And this movement of ISKCON, Hare Krishna movement, is meant for combining India's culture and Western technology. These things, two things together, will make everything successful. There's a combination of Lakshmi and Saraswati. Both are sisters, so they both should work together, Lakshmi and Saraswati. So Krishna Consciousness, Hare Krishna movement, is meant to bring these two together. And therefore it will have a special charm, like no other movement. There are so many movements coming from India today, but they don't attract Western people. They only can attract their own ethnic group of people who were there in India. Now some have come here, and only those stick in there. But we have got people from all backgrounds. Because we are not going on the basis of this skin disease. I am Indian, I am American, I am Gujarati, I am Sindhi. We don't think like that. We're not thinking I am this body. We think Aham Brahmasmi. And therefore it is attracting everyone. Everyone. You go and you see in Russia, thousands of Hare Krishna devotees. All over Europe, in every country, so many thousands of Hare Krishna devotees. Even now in China, there are Hare Krishna devotees. Everywhere in the world. There's nowhere you can go where you will not find devotees. I should have, there was a beautiful letter we received. I sent it to Dallas from one Chinese devotee. He wrote it from Vyas Puj. If you read this letter, you will be astounded. I'll have it faxed tomorrow. I will read it out, and you'll be surprised that even in China, someone can express themselves in this way. So all over the world, people are joining this Hare Krishna movement. So everywhere in the world, people are joining. And why not all of you who have come from this culture, from birth? And if you give it up, then you are giving up a priceless jewel. For what? For some broken pieces of glass. You are trading in a most valuable, precious jewel for some broken pieces of glass. That is a big mistake. Big mistake. You want the best for your children. What do you think is the best? The best is India's culture and the Western technology put together. Not one against the other. And that is the mistake. You think it has to be one or the other. Well, should I go back to India? No, I can't do that. I've grown accustomed to all of the luxuries of the West. I can't go back to India anymore. So instead of going back to India, then you have to settle on the West. And what does that mean? No culture at all. So here we're trying to do both things. Krishna consciousness means you do both things. So it is very, very good for you, good for your children, good for your whole family. You should take this movement up very nicely. Get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, all of them have been destroyed by thee. Therefore kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight and you will vanquish your enemies in battle. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, what can Dhritarashtra say now? O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows. We will stop here and ask if anyone has now any questions about today's discussion. Tomorrow we will hear what Arjuna says. You come to tomorrow night's program, then you will hear further. We'll try to complete just 12th chapter.
Why did Krishna decided to die the moment of
Bhishma? Bhishma didn't die at the Kurukshetra battle. It is described that Bhishma Dev continued to live for some more weeks. And the reason he continued to live is a very secret reason. That actually he knew everything. Bhishma knows everything, past, present, and future. He has that Trikalagya. He's a perfect soul. So he knew that after Kurukshetra, Yudhisthira would be very much upset that so many millions of persons have died just to put me on the throne. Yudhisthira will think like this. And he knew that he would have to speak transcendental knowledge to Yudhisthira, to fix up Yudhisthira in his service. You can imagine, in the Second World War, how many people died? You know what the total is? Anyone who's a student of history here? How many people died in the Second World War? Who was a student here? Huh? Come on, you are some students. You must have heard this. 20 million? 40 million? How many? 50 million? Not more than 50 million. You know how many people died in the Battle of Kurukshetra? 640 million. And we don't even read about it in the history book. Now you see how unfair they are. And why? Because it all is mythology. It never really happened. It's just a story, a fable, just like a fairy tale. This is what they would have us do. It's a fairy tale. But the greatest of all intelligent persons in India's history have always worshipped and read Mahabharata. Mahabharata means the great history of India. It is not a fairy tale. It is not a fiction story. 640 million persons died on that battle. So all of them died. Why? To put Yudhisthira on the throne. So you will read, if you read the Srimad Bhagavatam, where's your Bhagavatam? You only have one volume? Okay, that's good. Give me the volume 1. You should get the full set. Now people think that you are very learned because you have this Encyclopedia Britannica. But they think, like Madhavanandi, that he's a very materially learned man because he has the Britannica. But if you get our Bhagavatam, then they'll go, a sadhu. He's a great sadhu. Here, now, chapter 9 in your own book. Please read this, starting tomorrow. Right? You read chapter 9. The passing away of Bhishma Dev in the presence of Lord Krishna. Everything is described here. Beautiful chapter. Just one chapter, not much at all. 100 pages. You can read it there. You think that's a lot? You have no idea. 100 pages, nothing. Nothing. You can read that in 1 week. You'll read it. Every day you read 10 pages. So that's why he waited to leave his body in order to be able to teach transcendental knowledge. And he wanted to show how a pure devotee of the Lord is undisturbed by any material conditions at the time of death. What was his bed? What was Bhishma's bed at the time of death? What was his death's bed? Arrows. But he was undisturbed. Another question? Yes.
According to Hindu religion, it is said that the lords of the Lord is Shiva. How come you have described Krishna as the Lord of the Lords?
When you say according to Hindu religion, which Shastra are you referring to? Because you know the Vedas are very big. There are 18 Puranas. There are 108 Upanishads. There are 4 original Vedas. So when you say according to Hindu religion, you mean according to Vedic scripture. So Vedas are very lengthy. So unless you can state the place in the Vedas, then it's too vague. If I say according to law, people want to know which law. Just like we can give you many quotes. For example, you'll find this verse. Vedescha sarver aham eva vedyo vedanta krit vedavid evachaham. Krishna says in the 15th chapter, 15th text, I am the compiler of the Vedas, I am the knower of the Vedas, and I am the goal of the Vedas. Krishna says, another verse, aham sarvasa prabhavo, mata sarvam pravardate. Everything is coming from me, everything material and everything spiritual. There's hundreds of verses like this. You want to understand, you have to understand something. When you go into a temple and you see the Murti of Shiva, what is he doing? When you see Shiva, what is he usually doing?
Meditating on Krishna.
Meditating. Why does one meditate? To achieve something. If someone is the ultimate God, do they have to achieve anything?
It's not all the time achieving something.
Definitely he's meditating on someone. It is described that way. He meditates on Shankarshan. His worshipful deity, actually listen, Shiva's worshipful deity is Shankarshan. He prays to Shankarshan. When you see a deity of Krishna, what does he do? plane. He doesn't have to work, and nor does he meditate. Shiva is described as the topmost Vaishnava. Vaishvananam yatha Shambhu. Shambhu is a name for Shiva. He's the best of all Vaishnavas. For those who are not fully understanding the Vedas, they think that there are many different gods who may be supreme. Some say Shiva is supreme. Others say Kali is supreme. They're Shaktas. They have different ideas of who is the supreme. Some say Brahma is the supreme. But actually, that's not correct, in fact. It is not actually correct. Because you'll see, even Shankaracharya, who is the incarnation of Shiva, he says, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda Mudhamate. You should worship Govinda, Krishna. Lord Brahma, who is the first person, Brahma is the father of Shiva. Shiva is born from between the eyebrows of Brahma. And Brahma worships Krishna. He's a Krishna Bhakta. Shiva is the best of all Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas mean he worships Vishnu. And that Vishnu form he worships is Shankarshan. So it is not a fact that in the Hindu religion, if it is, then you should understand. You look at what is the predominant number of temples in India. Who are they devoted to? Vishnu, Ram, Krishna. In North India, the most temples are Krishna or Ram temples. And in South India, there are Vishnu temples. And some Shiva temples. Shiva is the best of all devotees of God. The difference between Shiva and Krishna, now I'll tell you, this is a very confidential understanding. The difference between Krishna and Shiva is the difference between milk and dahi. Dahi, yogurt, is actually milk transformed. Similarly, Shiva is actually Krishna transformed. What is that transformation? In yogurt, it is a souring agent. Yogurt is milk, but it is not milk. Milk you can do so many things from. Yogurt has less uses. Similarly, from Krishna comes all different expansions. But Shiva has less potency. It is described. He doesn't have the full potency of Godhead. 84%. Huh? They analyzed it. He has 84%. Not the full potency of God. Because Shiva has some contact with the material creation. Krishna has no contact with the material creation. When Krishna has to create the material universes, he does it through his expansion. What is that expansion? Vishnu, Mahavishnu. And from Mahavishnu, Shiva comes, originally comes. And Shiva is the father of the material creation. And Durga, or Kali, or Parvati, is the mother of the material creation. But this is the material creation. In the spiritual world, Shiva has another form which no one even knows about here. It's called Sada Shiva. It is a form like Narayan. And the highest of all planets in that spiritual world, the highest of all Narayans, is Krishna, two-handed. Above Lord Narayan's planet is Ram, and above the planet of Ram is Krishna. So, this is Hindu teaching. But most people don't know these details. And we can give you all the scriptures if you want to read them. I'm not saying anything which minimizes Shiva. I'm glorifying Shiva as the greatest devotee of all. But the fact is, you'll see that Shiva is praying on Rudraksha Mala. And the reason he's on Rudraksha Mala is that he's meditating and praying to Shankarshan.
Now, as said in this way, that Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the
What is he the creator of?
creator of the universe.
And what is Vishnu the maintainer of?
Maintainer,
And what is Shiva
Sahara.
of the universe? And the universe means the material creation. But what is beyond the material creation? So who is the Supreme Lord there? If Brahma, Shiva, and Vishnu are the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of the material world, who is in charge in the spiritual world? Then you'll find out who God is. You're getting your own answer just by this analysis. Yeah. Beyond that is the spiritual world. So there are many planets in the spiritual world, and they are controlled by Narayan, four-handed form of God. Narayan, Lakshmi Narayan. And beyond the highest region of this area is called Vaikuntha. Vaikuntha means where there's no anxiety. The spiritual world is called Vaikuntha. So the highest planet in the Vaikunthas, first comes Ayodhya, then comes Dwarka, then comes Mathura, and then comes Vrindavan. But this is when you say, wait, those places are near Delhi. No, those are facsimiles. Just like you have fax machine that reproduces, so there are facsimile reproductions of the Vaikunthas here in this world. And they're not different. But don't think I'm only talking about this world. I'm talking about Vaikuntha. Why is it that Goloka, or Krishna's planet, is higher than Narayan? Because in Narayan's planet, everyone worships Narayan with awe and reverence. But in Ram's planet, they have more close affection. And in Krishna's planet, they have the deepest affection. Look, in Goloka Vrindavan, in Vaikuntha, where Krishna has the highest planet, Mother Yasoda can hold Krishna like this. There's no one in Vaikuntha that can hold Narayan like this. You see? So Krishna is Rasaraj. That means he can show all the different rasas. All of them. Madhurya, Vatsalya, Sakya, all of them. Dasya. But Narayan can only go up to the point of Dasya. The devotees of Narayan can only think, I am servant. Just like Hanuman. Hanuman can go up to the point of Dasya. Everyone, Lakshmi, even Lakshmi Devi is thinking Dasya. Not Madhurya, Dasya. She just stays and massages the feet of Narayan. But not the gopis. Not Krishna's cowherd boys, the Sakas. When they wrestle with Krishna, no one is wrestling with Narayan. The cowherd boys wrestle with Krishna and they defeat Krishna. And that is the highest God. That his devotees are so great in Krishna's planet that they forget that he is God. Which is the highest love? Where you keep thinking, oh, you are God, you are God. Or you think, this is my dear most friend. That is higher. So, just like now, Arjuna is thinking, I forgot. And you'll see, he says to Arjuna, he says to Krishna, please forgive me. Arjuna is Krishna's best friend. They stay together, sleep in the same bed together. They're so intimate. But now when Krishna shows his Virat root, Arjuna says, I must have offended you so much, forgetting that you are God. But then immediately Krishna says, now forget this. You be my friend. I don't want that. It is a saying that the words of chastisement of the devotees of Krishna, Mother Yasoda's chastising words to her baby boy are more pleasing than the prayers of the Vedas. Because the prayers of the Vedas are often with, oh God, you're great, you're great. And Mother Yasoda says, you are a rascal. I will tie you up for breaking all these butter pots. Now whose love is greater? There's no comparison. Yasoda Devi's love, you cannot compare that in Vaikuntha. There's no Vaikuntha love that equals to Yasoda Devi. This has all been described very nicely in beautiful books by the followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They have made a whole scientific analysis of the different stages of love. If you read Chaitanya Chaitamrita, this is all described there, 100% of this. You get everything in Chaitanya Chaitamrita. So this is science. We are not saying this just, if you wonder how do you get this knowledge, it is coming out of these books. Chaitanya, we say Bhagavad Gita is the introduction book for college course of religion. Other religions are like grade schools, public school. Bhagavad Gita is like the introduction book, first year college. Srimad Bhagavatam is the graduate course. And Chaitanya Chaitamrita is the postgraduate course, PhD. So we want to give PhD, but as you know, there are very few people who are interested to get a PhD. Even to go to college, people say, easier to just get a high school diploma and start making money. One lady met me outside our temple in the Philippines. She said she was a Christian. She said, my religion is much better than yours. I said, why is that? She said, because you have to go every day to yours. I only have to go once a week. So people don't want to go to college. They want, high school diploma once a week. God, forgive me, everything I promised you I would do, I didn't do. I'm really terrible. I'll say a few prayers, or you say some prayers for me. This is not religion. Another question?
It's not true that Krishna and Rama were of
Of Vishnu.
of Krishna.
No, it's not true. It's not true, and it is true. Means like this. Our friend has described that in the material world, Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the maintainer, Shiva is the destroyer. But it's not fully true. You see, where did Brahma come from? It came from Vishnu. Which Vishnu? Garbhadakshayi Vishnu. There's 3 Vishnus. The first is called Mahavishnu. When he breathes out, the universes come from his skin holes. His skin pores, each universe is coming out. Then within each universe he comes as another Vishnu, Garbhadakshayi Vishnu. It is he who lays down, and from his navel comes Brahma. Then the Vishnu comes in the third way, Paramatma. Paramatma, the super soul within the heart of all living entities. So when we say that Krishna or the incarnations come, they come generally through this Vishnu. Now the point is this: where does Vishnu come from? Who is Vishnu? Vishnu is explained that he is an expansion of Shankarshan, Mool Shankarshan. And in Vaikuntha, there is Narayan, Vasudev, Shankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. These 5 are in every Vaikuntha loka. And Mahavishnu is with the avatars. And each avatar has their own planet in Vaikuntha. So even though it appears that the avatars are coming through Vishnu, actually they all have their eternal places in Vaikuntha. They don't come from Vishnu. They appear to come through the position of Vishnu, but actually they don't come from Vishnu.
Krishna's name wasn't there before, right?
Krishna's name is always there. Yada yada hidamasya granir bhavati bharata.
That's true. But
He comes again and again, not just 5,000 years ago. Why do you think that Krishna came 5,000 years ago? He says, I come again and again and again. You will find in Bhagavad Gita history, Krishna says, I first spoke this knowledge. Eham parampara praptamimam rajarshyo vidu sakalineha yahu. Then he says in the next verse, Imam vivaspate yogam praptavam ahamavidyam vivasvan mahave prabhu manudik shrakave pravit. I first spoke this science to the sun god. Then he says, and the sun god spoke it to Manu, and Manu spoke it to Ikshaku. This is how this knowledge of Gita came. Then Arjuna says, I don't remember. He says, no, many, many times both you and I have come. You don't remember, but I remember everything. The first time Krishna spoke Gita was 120 million years ago to the sun god. The first time in this universe. So when you say the name Krishna was not there, the name Krishna is eternal.
it's not. What I'm saying is that he came first, or not first, but he came as a Ram first, then he was
No. Krishna says, I come again and again. You'll see in Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter. He says, in every day of Brahma, I come. Now, Brahma lives for 311 trillion years. 311 trillion, 40 billion years. This is a lifetime of Brahma. 311 trillion of our years. Very long time. Brahma lives in his own life 100 years. Every year has 12 months. Every month has 30 days. In every day, Krishna avatar comes one time. And every day he comes one time. So Krishna is coming regularly. Ram is coming regularly. And this is going on eternally, again and again. So to say, first Ram came, then Krishna came. No, they come again and again and again. One does not come first, one does not come second. Not like that. Yes, I understand. Ram came in a different yuga, Krishna came recently. But I'm saying, before that time, Krishna came. And before that time, Ram came. And they will go on coming, just like the sun comes again and again every day it rises. So, and beyond, that is in this universe, in this material creation. But I'm telling you that in Vaikuntha, Ayodhya is there. In Vaikuntha, Vrindavan is there. So before this material creation, there is Ayodhya, there is Vrindavan, and they are eternal, Nitya. Those dhams are never destroyed. Krishna says, my abode is never destroyed. So try to understand the position of Krishna, the position of Ram. They're not just coming for the first time 5,000 years ago, or 2 million years, or whatever. Not like that. They're God. God is eternal. Is it?
Do you give lectures on Ramayana and Lord Rama?
Yes. Surely, we must. We have to. We worship Ram. That's why we chant Hari Ram, Hari Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Hari.
I've heard and listened to you in the temple. Most of the time, the lectures are concentrated on Lord Krishna.
Yeah, because Krishna is tu Bhagavan Swami. Krishna is the original personality of Godhead.
But it's also the Ramayana, also I think it's equally important from Indian culture point of view.
Yeah, cultural point of view. But
Right.
culture is helpful for a further purpose. From a cultural point of view, Ramayana and Mahabharata may be of equal importance. From a cultural point of view. But from spiritual point of view, we have to understand that culture helps us to develop knowledge of God. Now when we say Krishna, Krishna means Ramadi Murteshu Kalanyamena Tishtam Namavataramakanot Buvareshu Kinto. Krishna Sayam Samabhavat Paramapunamyo Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. This is a prayer by Lord Brahma, that I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, from whom all the incarnations, such as Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, they're all coming. So in the Krishna form of God, all of the different manifestations of God are included. Therefore, you'll find in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna stu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the original form of God. Therefore, we're stressing on Krishna. That's the reason. Because he's the original form of God.
But if you're trying to take the best of the two different cultures, or if you want to say culture and technology, if you stress that you want to put Indian culture and Western technology together to form the best of both worlds, don't you think it's important that our children also learn about Ramayana?
We read Ramayana. We also read Ramayana. Certain days we study about Rama. But generally when we speak about God, we say Krishna. Because I explained to you that Krishna includes all the different incarnations of the Lord.
Is it accurate to say that there is that definite philosophy in the Ramayana?
This Bhagavad Gita is very unique. You cannot find Bhagavad Gita philosophy in Ramayana, not like that.
So deep about the story of the Ramayana.
But remember, you're talking about the culture.
Yeah, so I'm saying to you that culture, sir, culture is the foundation for which we go to spiritual understanding. Without philosophy, culture becomes sentiment. In India today, because there's so little philosophical understanding, the thing has degraded to sentiment. Just like you see, so many people are watching Ramayana on television. Does it change their life? You think it's changing their life? Why not? Because there's no philosophy, that's why. So culture, but if there's no philosophy, it just becomes sentiment. Then it becomes sentiment. Sentiment doesn't change a person's life. The culture and the philosophy together. We worship Ram. We chant every day, 2 hours, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, Maha Mantra. Half that time we're chanting Ram's name. Now, if that is not giving importance to Ram, how much more importance we can give? Our main thing is the Maha Mantra. And half of that Maha Mantra is devoted to Ram. Who is Ram? Do you understand? There's no difference, actually. I don't minimize. Mahabharata and Ramayana, we give more importance to Bhagavad Gita. What is the main thing in Mahabharata? What is the most important thing in Mahabharata? That's the reason why Mahabharata is written. It's for Gita. And the Ramayana doesn't have that Gita. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Rama is not for the king of knowledge of anything they want.
It's there. I'm not in any way minimizing Ramayana. I don't mean to minimize it. Anyway, I don't think this point is very important. The point is, the culture is there. We're trying to give the culture of Mahabharata and Ramayana.
So
Go along with questions. I understand you're saying that there's also philosophy. Yes. Hmm?
Similar people have knowledge.
Okay.
So that is very important.
Any other questions? Let us chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Ram Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Prabhupada, Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaura Bhaktivedanta Sri Siddhartha Krishna Goswami Shyam Kundala Niti Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Bhaktivedanta Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Manamayi Ki Ganga Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Sankirtan Yagna Ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Lord Premanandi.